students. My name is Niyati Seth and thanks for watching Edupedia word videos. My topic for the presentation is the 9th section of the chapter Morphology of Angiosperms, that is flowering plants. In this section of presentation, we'll be studying about the Androecium. It is the third or male whorl, okay? It is a collection of male parts called stamen, okay? So Androecium is composed of stamen, each stamen which represents the male reproductive organ, which consists of a stalk or filament and an anther. Each anther, as you can see that this is anther, okay, and this is your filament. So each anther is usually bilobed, and each lobe has two chambers, which we call it as pollen sac. Okay, so you can say that anther are usually bilobed in nature, and each lobe has two chambers, which you can see that which contains pollen grains, and these are known as pollen sacs. Okay. The pollen grains are produced in pollen sacs. A sterile stamen is called staminode. Okay, please note that. The sterile stamen is known as staminode. So you can say that each stamen is a modified leaf or microsporophyll. Each stamen consists of three parts. Which are those? Filament, which is a stalk-like structure, anther, and connective that connects. Okay, each anther has two anther lobes, and each lobe usually contains two pollen sacs. Pollen sacs, they are also known as microsporangia, which are filled with pollen grains or microspores. Okay, as I told you that stamen consists of anther, filament, and connective. Okay. Ordinarily, each stamen is composed of slender stalk-like filament that supports a knob-like spore case, which we also call it as anther. Okay. And as we know that each anther consists of two lobes, as I just taught you, which is connected by a connective which can be clearly seen on the dorsal side as an extension of filament. Each anther lobe again has two pollen sacs or pollen chambers placed longitudinally. There are longitudinal grooves or sutures along the ventral face of the anther which demarcates the pollen chamber. Okay, so let's see anther, filament, and connective in detail. Okay, so what is anther? Anther is a fertile part of stamen. It produces pollen grains, as I just taught you. The pollen grains, they consist male reproductive cells. It consists of 4 microsporangia, which are separated by tissue known as connective tissue. Microsporangia contain many microspores or pollen grains. Anther is generally bilobed and rarely unilobed. Okay. If the anther is bilobed, then that means it contains 4 pollen sacs. Okay, and that produces pollen grains. And if it is unilobed, then that means it contains only 2 pollen sacs. Okay, now come to the next part of the stamen, and that is your filament. Filament is a sterile part of the stamen that means it has nothing to do with the reproduction. Okay, it is just the sterile part. The filament is a slender stalk that anchors the anther. Okay. In rare cases, a stamen may be devoid of filament or sessile, as seen in stamens of Arum maculatum. Okay. On the other extreme, a stamen may not develop any fertile anther when it is sterile, and it is termed as staminode. A sterile stamen is seen in cassia and canna. Please note that. Okay. So the Filament is generally present on stamen. However, in rare cases it may be absent. As I told you, it could be sessile stamen also when the filament is absent. Okay, but that too in rare cases. The attachment of the filament to the anther differs from flower to flower. The filament may be longer and come out of the flower, or may be short and they remain within the flower. Filament may be white or colored yellow, blue, black, etc. Just like petals. Okay. While the filament is ordinarily simple in Ricinus communis, it is found to be branched. When the filaments are very long, stamens protrude out of the flower and is termed as exerted. Okay. On the contrary to this, when stamens they remain within the flower, then that is known as inserted. Okay, then that is known as inserted. So these were the two parts of the stamen, anther and filament. Another third part is your connective. What is connective? Ordinarily, the connective is a patch of a tissue that connects the two parallel anther lobes, as you can see. Okay, see, this is the bilobed anther. Okay, in this the connective is a patch of the tissue that connects the two parallel anthers. See, this is parallel anther and this is also a parallel. So it connects the two parallel anther lobes, and it is the prolongation of the filament. See, this connective is the prolongation part of this filament. Okay, and it contains the conductive strands also. The connective, however, may be extremely small or altogether wanting, as in some species of Euphorbia. Okay, where the anther lobes are, they are very close together, and this condition is known as discrete. Okay, so these are the three parts of the stamen, that is anther, filament and connective. Now come to the number. If stamen is 1 in number, then that is known as monoandrous, and if it is 2 in number, then that is known as diandrous. If it is 3 in number, then triandrous. Mono, di and tri, rest is androus part. Okay, so this way you can memorize the thing. If stamen is 1 in number, then that is monoandrous, and if it is 2 in number, then that is known as diandrous. 3 in number, triandrous, and many stamen, then that is known as polyandrous. Okay, as I told you that if it is inserted, then that is means stamen they remain inside the corolla tube. Okay, it remains inside the corolla tube, then that is known as inserted. That means when the stamen it remains within the flower, then that is known as inserted. On the contrary to this, when the filament of the stamen they are very long and thus it protrudes out of the flower, then that is known as exerted, which is this. Okay, so in this stamen are longer and exposed out of the corolla tube. For example, it is seen in hibiscus and acacia. So inserted stamen is seen in petunia, and exerted stamen is seen in hibiscus and acacia. Okay, now come to the length part. Length of the stamen. Isostamenous. Okay, when all stamen of a flower of equal length. Okay, then it is seen in solarium. What is heteros terminals? When length of the stamens they are unequal. It is seen in cassia. Then comes your Dynamis. When the stamens are 4, too short and too long, it is seen in Ocimum, that is your Tulsi. And then comes your Tetra Dynamis. Stamens are 6 in number, 2 outer short and inner 4 long. This is seen in Brassica. So These four are distinguished on the basis of the length of the stamen. Iso means same. Okay, so isostaminous means when all stamens of the flower are of equal length. An example is solarium. Then comes it heteros terminals, when the length of the stamens are unequal. For example, in cassia. Hetero means different. This way you can memorize. Like iso means same, and thus all the stamens are of equal length. Hetero means different, and hence length of the stamens, they are unequal. Okay. Now Dynamis means the stamens are four, two short and two long. It is seen in Tulsi, that is Ocimum. Then comes Tetra Dynamis, in which stamen are 6 in number, 2 outer short and inner 4 long. It is seen in Brassica. Now, the distinguish has been made on the basis of arrangement of stamen. Diplostemonous stamens, they are arranged in two whorl. Outer whorl alternate with the petal, that is alterni petalous, and inner whorl is opposite to petal, that is antipetalous. Okay, so this is seen in cassia. Then comes your Obdiplostemonous, when outer whorl of the stamen is antipetalous and inner whorl is alternately petalous. For example, it is seen in Dianthus. Okay, so far we have studied about the stamen based on the number, based on the position inserted and exerted, based on the length of the stamen, and based on the arrangement of a stamen. Okay. Now the fifth distinguish has been made on the basis of their producing pollen capability. If a stamen produces pollen, then that is your fertile stamen. And if the stamen is sterile in nature or non-functional in nature, that means the stamen could not produce pollen, then that is known as staminode. For example, salvia and cassia. Okay. Now the sixth distinguish has been made on the basis of lobes. Okay, if the lobe is 1 in number, then that is known as Monothecous. That means one-lobed anther, having 2 pollen chambers. If the lobe is 1, then there will be 2 pollen chambers, and if the lobes are 2, then it will have 4 pollen chambers. Okay, so in case of Dithecous, it has 2-lobed anther which has 4 pollen chambers. That's why it is also known as tetrasporangiate. It is seen in mustard. Okay. So this is your normal anther. This is your aberrant anther. Aberrant means sessile. Okay. It is stamenoid. This is style. This is stigma. This is ovary. Okay. And this is your Monothecous, when it has only 1 lobe, and hence it has 2 pollen sacs, that is that produces pollen glands, then that is known as Monothecous. And this is your Dithecous, when the anther has 2 lobed and it has 4 pollen chambers. Okay, so that is your Dithecous. Now the distinguish has been made on the basis of cohesion of stamen. Okay. Adelphinous, when filaments are united but the anthers, they remain free. And it is of 3 types, which are those: monoadelphous, diadelphous, and polyadelphous. Okay. So what happens in monoadelphous? Filaments of all the stamens, they're united in one bundle. Okay. As you can see that this is your monoadelphous, in which all the filaments of the anther, they are united in one bundle, as you can see. Okay, and it is seen in hibiscus. Then comes your diadelphous. Diadelphous is filaments of the stamen, they are united to form 2 bundles. Okay, as you can see, this is one bundle and this is one bundle. So filaments of the stamen, they are united to form 2 bundles, and this is seen in P. Then comes your polyadelphous. Filaments of the stamens, they are united to form many bundles. Okay, this is one bundle, second bundle, third bundle, and fourth bundle. So filaments of the stamens, they are united to form many bundles, and that is seen in citrus, castor, cotton, etc. Okay. So these were the three types of adelphous, okay, where the filaments are united but the anthers remain free. See, anthers are free but the filaments are united. Okay. Now the second category is your syngeneious. When the anthers of the stamens, they are fused and filaments, they remain free. It is just opposite of adelphinous. Okay, so this is your syngeneious, where the anthers of the stamen, they are fused. As you can see that all the anthers are fused and the filaments, they remain free. This is seen in Helianthus, Anus and Tridax. Now the third category is your synandrous. Synandrous means when stamens, they are fused throughout their length. Okay, entire stamen is fused throughout their length, then that is your means is synandrous. It is seen in Cucurbita. Okay. Now comes polyadelphous. This is the fourth category where the stamens, they are free from one another, and it is seen in Ranunculus and Iberis. Okay. So this was about the cohesion of the stamen. First is adelphinous, monoadelphinous, diadelphinous and polyadelphinous. Okay. And second is your syngeneious, synandrous and polyandrous. Now comes to the adhesion of stamen. It is also categorized into three categories, and that is epipetalous, epitapellus, that is also known as epiphyllus, and gynandrous. Okay, so what is epipetalous? In this, fusion of the stamen with petals, for example datura, ixora, tobacco, potato, etc. Okay, fusion of the stamen with petals. That means petal is fused with stamen, then that is known as epipetalous. Now what do you mean by epiphyllus? Stamen used with tepals. That means stamen plus tepal is equals to epiphyllus. It is seen in asparagus, asphodelus. Gynandrous, stamen fused with pistils. For example, it is seen in Calotropis. Okay. So this is your gynandrous. In this stamens, they are fused with female reproductive part, which is also known as pistil. So it is seen in Calotropis. Okay, gynandrous. And this is your epitapellus, which is also known as epiphyllus, in which the stamens, they are fused with the tepals. Okay, it is seen in asparagus and asphodelus. And this is your epipetalus, in which fusion of the stamen. This is your stamen which is fused with the petals. Then that is your epipetalus, and it is seen in datura, ixora, tobacco, potato, etc. Now the ninth is based on the fixation of the anther. Okay, it has been categorized into 6 branches, which are those: basifixed, dorsifixed, adenant, versatile, divergent and distractile. Okay, so they are 6 in number based on the fixation of the anther. See, this is basifixed. In this basifixed, it is also known as innate. In this, filaments attached to the base of the anther. Okay, this is basifixed, in which the filament is attached to the base of the anther. See, this is the anther and it is the base of the anther. So filament is attached to the base of the anther. It is seen in Brassica and Datura. Now comes dorsifixed. Filament is attached to the dorsal side of the anther. Okay, this is your dorsal side of the anther. For example, Passiflora, Sesbonia, Annona. Okay. Now comes adenate. Adenate is in which the filament is attached along the entire length of the anther. As you can see that this is anther. Okay, this is the boundary of the anther, and this filament is protruded uh, towards the entire length of the anther. It is seen in Magnolia, Nicotiana, and Michaelia, Nelumbium, etc. Okay, so this is your adenate, where the filament is attached along the entire length of the anther. Now comes versatile. What is versatile? Filament is attached to a point on the back or the base of the anther so as to let it swing freely. As you can see, this is your filament, and it is attached to the back of the base of the anther. See, this is anther, and this filament is attached to the back or the base of the anther so as to let it swing freely. For example, Dithecous, grasses, etc. Now comes divergent. Divergent is also known as divaricate. When two anther lobes, they separate due to enlarged connective. Okay. See, as we know that connective, it connects the two anthers, right? So when the two anther lobe it separate due to enlarged connective, then that is known as divergent or divaricate. Okay, it is also known as telia. Now comes your districtile. When the two anther lobes, they are far apart. As you can see, this is one lobe and this is another lobe. Okay, so they are far apart. Okay, so when two anther lobes they are far apart, then that is known as districtile. Okay, and it is seen in Salvinia. So far we studied about the type of the fixation of anther, and they are 6 in number. Okay, which are those? See, the mode of the attachment of the anther to the filament, it varies. First, it is basifixed, which is also known as innate. In this, the filament is attached to the base of the flowers, base of the anther, okay, which is brassica. Then comes dorsifixed, in which the filament attached to the dorsal, and that is seen in Passiflora, Cisponia, Annona, etc. Okay, now the third category is adenate. As I told you, that filament is attached along the entire length of the anther. Okay, so this is the entire length, and where the filament has protrude towards the entire length of the anther, then that is known as your adenate. Okay, and it is seen in Magnolia, Nicotiana, and this is your versatile, in which the filament is attached to the point on the back or base of the anther. See, this is the base of the anther, so that it can swing freely. Okay, this is seen in Dithecous, grasses, etc. This is your divergent, in which the anther lobes they are separate due to enlarged connective. Okay, it is also known as divaricate. For example, telia. Okay, and then comes your distractive, in which the lobes they are very far away from each other. So this is the last category, which is known as districtile, and it is seen in Salvinia. So this was all about the anther. Okay, in my next section of the presentation we'll be studying about the gynoecium and the placentation. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Edupedia word videos.